Our company is involved with media and journalism activities in the Middle East, Asia, Africa, Europe, and America. And many of our clients ask us to help them in a crisis situation that involves the press. We also do a lot of corporate branding, helping our clients influence their market and basically target their customers. We have experience with Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Google search, and we use them daily in our ability to influence and target audiences around the world. I intend today to outline some of these techniques we use to give us that ability. I also want to share with you this morning some new technology in the telecommunication field that's going to revolutionize the platforms for the media and journalism. It's artificial intelligence as well as virtual and augmented reality. This future technology is about to occur. It's a big revolution. It will affect journalism and the media platform throughout the world. And it could be a disruptor, just as the smartphone has been for many of us. I'm past president of the United States Association of Former Members of Congress. I've gained insight in how to strengthen the effectiveness of the United States Congress as it carries out its constitutional duties. As former president, we promote a collaborative approach to policymaking. Our membership includes 100 senators and 450 House members. This collaborative approach is also useful in trying to effectuate good working relations with the press. I don't have to tell you what the onset of the internet has done and how media has changed. Between the availability of Twitter and Facebook, Instagram and Google search, a company now can get their message out without the mainstream media. Social media is less expensive and can be targeted. That's the key. In some respects, this has been a disruptive force, sometimes for good and sometimes for bad. Let me give you some examples of how social media and focus groups are used in research and tools are used to clarify our clients' challenges. Okay, let's see it. Push the first one here. There you go. Good. What you see in front of you is a Twitter board to help understand the impact of Twitter. If you look at this presentation, to the left are the current presidential candidates, and a new person is added, Adam Schiff, who is a House Democrat prosecutor in the impeachment process. After the name of the individual is the current poll. This poll is done every week in the United States by Real Clear Media Politics. The next column shows the week-to-week trends, and after that is a number of likes from the total tweets. The last column shows the inertia, the trend from positive and negative tweet. Obviously, Twitter board is a very good gauge of engagement of the American citizens and also the notoriety of the candidate. The next slide wants to show how we use a variety of research tools to answer our clients' questions. They monitor the social media but try to answer the why and how that drives what people think, say, and feel. From this slide, you can see we do focus groups, digital analytics, phone and online surveys through a software program called Telescope. It's much like Reddit. We put it around to thousands of people and ask them online to give us their response to questions we give them. The next slide is market reputation and how we go about fulfilling it. Once we do that, we go out in the field in the United States and do ongoing reputation monitoring across 14 markets, 6 audiences to find these answers. This last slide is very interesting. This is a proprietary product that APCO has called Media Landscape. In this slide, we look at the social media print media, television media across the United States, in fact, across the world. The blue circles show op-eds, panels, and events that occur. The green circles show activity on the Hill or in Congress. The red is a negative press that's out there. And the others are dealing with some of the social media. So you can see in one presentation, you can get an idea of your company, how it's perceived in the marketplace. Based upon the slides, you can see the ways to communicate. I'll mention one other case that we had. A farm association asked us to help promote the branding for the eating of fruits and vegetables. Using Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, digital, radio, outdoor advertising, and print, we were to amplify this message to the millennials who felt, for some reason, the Farm Bureau felt they were not eating their fruits and vegetables. We were successful. We changed the perception of eating fruits and vegetables. But in many social cases, it can be used for a negative. And that's where APCO steps in and we try to revert that negative perception. Let's talk about IMAP. What can be done? I think they can establish a code of conduct that is fair and credible, which has been mentioned in the presentation. The code can be distributed and posted on the internet and social media. Your International Association of Academians for Peace provide a platform for reference and comment on various egregious actions in the media, as well as to use the International Association of Parliamentarians to speak on the need for civility and, frankly, just respect for your opponents. I was chairman of several subcommittees in Congress that had jurisdiction over the Federal Trade Commission, which is responsible for internet privacy and much of the consumer protection in the social media. Also over the Federal Commerce Commission, the FCC, which has broad jurisdiction over broadcast media, much of the standards of the internet speed and broadcast transmissions, including the controversial argument for net neutrality, and you may have heard that very controversial issue. Many of the enforcement actions by these two regulatory agencies affect and apply on a global basis and frankly provide a paradigm for what IMAT may eventually adopt themselves. For example, should broadband internet be classified as a public utility? This was not done when the new FCC chairman put out a publication, quote, "Restoring Internet Freedom and Order," end quote. This would be a good publication for IMAT to look at. The FCC is involved with 5G infrastructure transition, robocalls, and next generation of TV standards. Now, under the previous Democrat FCC chairman, Mr. Wheeler, he positioned that broadband networks should be connected by analog to utilities, and the utilities should be made available to the public. In other words, the internet would be like a utility. Under Republican Chairman Pai, today that is no longer the case. Quasi-government control or public ownership has not always been a panacea. I mention these two agencies because they could be another resource for IMAT in efforts to bring continued freedom and responsibility to the press. These agencies should be monitored. In some case, IMAT should take positions on their final positions. Innovation and technology advancement are making it almost impossible to curtail some of the fake news, which brings into focus the need for an overarching association of members who endeavor to set standards and crusade for freedom of the press and social justice while maintaining integrity and collaborative values. My colleagues, before I close, as I mentioned before, I want to bring your attention to this new technology that's going to transform the world. It's being promoted by Google, Microsoft, and Samsung. It could be a disruption.